everybody, it's Amy Humphrey from Clatter. It's been a long time since I've done one of these Basslines Deconstructed videos, so it's exciting to be back again. As you all probably know, I took a little bit of time off from playing music for a few years, so it's really nice to be back and playing again and doing another video for you guys. I inquired about what you were most interested in seeing when it came to a bass video from me. I didn't know if maybe you would just prefer I played through the song, or if you like these discussions and talks about what I'm doing in these songs, and so everybody said they liked the talking stuff. So here I am talking about my bass lines, and if there's anything else that you wanted to hear about these lines or the songs in general or whatever, just post something in the comments below, and maybe I'll do it on the next video. So the song I'm going to start with is called The More I Think, and this is the first song, the first main song off of our most recent album called Pull Back for Sound. It came out in the summer of 2019, last year. And the reason I wanted to start with this is that the whole album, Pull Back for Sound, was a concept album. So we wrote this with an overall concept in mind, and each song represents a progression of the concept of the album. The concept is done a lot. It's about the breakup of a relationship, but our thinking was it really could extend to any kind of a relationship, whether it's a marriage, a romantic relationship, a friendship, a government and a people. I mean, there's dissension and controversy in all areas of life, unfortunately. And so this is something that we all deal with all the time. And it was just something that I felt particularly that I needed to work out through music. A lot of the times when I write songs, it's because whatever the topic is something that's on my mind at the moment. And I feel like by releasing it through music, it helps me work through things and get them out of my system to some extent. So this album is along with that, and Joe and I we both write lyrics, and we both write the music to these different songs. And so we're both working out our thoughts and feelings about these different topics. And so this topic is about a breakup. So it starts with this song, The More I Think, and this was a song that I'd written some years ago, actually, just messing around on my acoustic guitar, and I developed it over time, and as it turns out, it turned out to be almost an overture for the album. So thematically, with the lyrics, it basically describes the whole story from the start of, in this case it's more of a romantic relationship, the start of some suspicion, some concern, some worry, you know, I think something's going on, and then it goes into, oh, I think things are really going wrong, and then, you know, goes on from there. And so the whole song encapsulates this journey that this person is taking. And then as the album progresses, it kind of goes step by step through this whole concept. So as I'm doing these bass videos, I wanted to give you a little bit of background for the album concept, because with this album, we tried really hard to write the music around the lyrics. In times past, we maybe wrote the music first, but with this album, we were really cognizant of what we were trying to say lyrically and reflect that musically. So I wanted to give you a little bit of background because it has a lot to do with my bass lines and how I play them. I really try to use a lot of dynamics in my actual playing instead of just as loud as I can all the time, which was kind of what I used to do a lot because it's so much fun. So this time I was really trying hard to zero in on dynamics, feelings, and range of motion and express that in my playing. So I wanted to express all of this first so that you would understand why I chose to play the parts I did and play them the way I played them, so that you would have some context there. So this is a good starting point, and then the other videos that I'll do from other songs will refer back to this video, because I'm not going to keep rehashing this over and over about what the album's about. So with that said, I'll just go right into the song. With this album, one of the things that we wanted to do was not restrict ourselves to what we could play live. In our past 3 albums, one of the things that we wanted to do as we were writing and recording the songs was to limit ourselves in overdubs and multi-tracking and just try to keep it to what we could replicate live, just the two of us in that moment. And on this album, we decided we would let, again, the meaning of the song dictate the amount of music that we put into it. So let's say we wanted to have a lot of lush orchestrations or a lot of overdubs or something. We did that because we felt like we wanted the music to support the song and the idea more than just be music for the sake of music. So in this song particularly, there are parts where I have multiple overdubs that I did on different basses. My main bass throughout the album is, of course, the Rickenbacker, but there are times when I would play my 12-string for some overdubs, and then a Fender 6. On this album, I did a few overdubs, which sounded really cool and added a different textural element to the songs, I think. So I won't be doing the overdubs on these videos. I'll just be playing the basic bass tracks and the basic lines that I wrote for the songs. But if that's something you wanted to know more about, just let me know, and I can figure out how to incorporate that as well. So the other thing I wanted to say is that my setup was a little bit different for this album as well. We recorded in Sweden, and I didn't have my full complement of goodies that I normally have, but I was recording at a fantastic studio, Fascination Street Studios, with David Castillo, and he did an amazing job of capturing my sound. We still used the Mesa rig and the SWR SM900, but I didn't use my effects or my Redhead at all. So in these videos, I'm just going to be playing everything the way I played it for recording, but this is not what it's going to look like when I play live, because when I play live, I will still be incorporating all of my effects and my third amplifier. So I just wanted to give that as a basic introduction to the way this is going to go down, as opposed to my previous videos, which incorporated more pedals and more things happening at once. So with that said, let's get into the song. It starts with this quiet part, and I'll just play it for you actually on just the clean setting. So we're starting off with almost a creepy vibe. We're introducing this idea of unease and suspicion and just this sense of trying to get that sense of this creeping doubt. And so that's what this bass line represents. It starts off quiet, and I try to play it more quietly, so it goes like this. So that's the basic little line, and then it just keeps repeating. Then it moves up to the 12th fret, and maybe you play it a little bit louder, because things are getting a little more intense. And now you're going to play it one more time back down here, but maybe even just a little bit louder. So when I play that, I would normally play that also with the Mesa on channel 1, which would sound like this. Gives it just a little bit of grit, and it sounds kind of cool. So as you make it a little bit louder, it gets a little bit grittier and sounds a little bit scarier. So then you go into the next part, you move into channel 2, and it's just basically the same notes, just played with a different rhythm. So I'll play it without the Mesa on. So if you put the Mesa in with that, it adds a really cool grit to it. Now you're going to go into the chorus part. So we've been gradually building up this sense of, oh gosh, I think there's something going on, and then you're getting a little bit louder and you're adding a little bit more distortion. the chorus is just where it all goes, blah, you know, it just gets really crazy. And so I was trying to really get in that with some chords and some big distortion and making it sound just really exciting. So that part goes like this. So I played it a little bit more slowly than I normally would, just to give you an idea what it sounds like. But if you add in the distortion, so you've gone from this, you go to the channel 3, so now we go into this happy little part. I don't know where it even came from. I mean, this whole song is kind of crazy. I put all these little parts together. Somehow it just worked out in my brain. I think of it as a circle. It starts up here and it goes down and up and around. I don't know. I just have this visual way of interpreting songs, and that's how I think about it. So it goes into this kind of happy little doom doom dum part that's super fun to play, and it goes like this. I should explain that you start on the E string and then you strum, but when I'm strumming, I'm going back and forth between the strum and the E string again. So it's so you could do it either two ways. I have fake fingernails, so I use my fake fingernail on my left hand to hit that E string. Huh?
Right hand.
It's my right hand. Okay. So I use the fake fingernail on my right hand. I'm glad Joe's here to set me straight. To hit that E string. But I also sometimes, if I really want to dig into it, hit it with my index finger on my right hand. So it goes like this. So when you play it together with the mesa, it sounds like this. Okay, so now for the next part of the song, we go into this little instrumental interlude, and this is the part where I did a whole bunch of overdubs. I had so much fun doing that, coming up with the basic bass line and then screwing around with little parts on top, because I've never let myself do that before. So it was a really fun challenge and fun thing to do, so I highly recommend doing it. So anyway, it goes like this. By doing it this way without a metronome, you can still get an idea of what's going on. There's a few little weird tempo things that happen in there. I just really got on this odd time thing. I don't know. So I came up with these little parts that have little, they kind of truncate, and then I bring them back around. So I don't know. It all comes out in the end. I drove Joe crazy with it, I'm sure. So this is what it sounds like with the distortion on. part, we're going to go into the really dark night of the soul of the song. So this is where things are really going bad, and this person is realizing, yeah, I think something is really wrong, my suspicions are true, and things seem to be really falling apart. So to try to represent that musically, I wanted to have it just sound really dark and scary. So that's the part that sounds like this. Actually really simple, you know, but I think there's something in the simplicity that adds to the darkness and the gloominess, especially after all the busyness from before that. And then it just moves into a little chord part that sounds kind of melancholy and sad. It goes a little like this. So that just repeats over again, and then I have another little overdub over the top that sounds super cool. There's a modulation, so it goes up to... So like that. So the whole part together just kind of circles around and builds up until the big climactic moment of, oh wow, everything's really gone wrong. And that's where it kind of hangs. And then we have it, this kind of wacky little percussion loop comes in, and then you hear the first part of the song coming back again. It's kind of, you know, very quietly coming in. And again, playing with dynamics is what I was really working on here, so I could not only represent that, not just like by turning up a volume knob, but changing the way I was playing it as well. Because if I'm playing it really quietly, sounds a lot different than when I'm really whacking it with my fingernails. Especially when you add distortion in, which sounds a little like this. So you can get a whole lot of sounds out of what you're doing just in the way you're attacking your strings. And I really had a lot of fun experimenting with that on this recording because it's not something I'd done before. And I really thought it was a fun way of expressing what was happening in the lyrics by either just playing really lightly or really attacking the strings. So that basically is the entire song in a nutshell. The only thing that I added in is the very ending, which again, with this album being a concept album, we really wanted the songs to flow one from the other, both thematically but also musically as well. So there's a little figure at the end of the song that not only flows from this song to the next song, but it also repeats in other parts of the album. And so we thought that would be a really interesting way of tying all of the songs together by taking a little figure which turns out to be, and then repeating that in different ways throughout the album, just to make it all come together as one cohesive whole and keep referring back to each other and intertwining. So at the very end, after you come out of that very last chorus, then it goes into goes back and forth between and. And that's how the song ends, is just with the. And that just gradually blends in then to the next song. So that's it for the more I think. I think I remembered everything in there, but of course if you have any questions or comments, or if you want to see me doing anything differently, absolutely, I'd love to hear from you guys. So drop me a line, comment below, say hi on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that stuff. And coming up next, I'll probably do arrhythmia, so be looking out for that video. And
the more I think about it now, the more I feel betrayed somehow. I see you smile across the room, the wrong direction.